Hello, everyone. Welcome to the basement. Welcome to the live stream. Sorry I was a few minutes late. We have big breaking news that we're going to talk about real soon here. But first, wow, what a crazy day in the markets yesterday for gold and silver. Manipulation. Are silver and gold being manipulated? We're going to take a look at that and take a look at some proof as well. But first, I want to say thank you. Yes, you for being here today. It's a big deal that you're joining us either live or on the recorded version. You're the most important part of Ron's Basement. You're probably the most important part of other people's lives as well. So welcome, and let's dig right in. Let's talk about some unfortunate news going on right now. This is big breaking news. Here, we'll go to NBC. Iran has launched attacks against Israel. Live updates. Iran's retaliatory attack on Israel has begun. Israel's defense minister has warned that a, quote, direct Iranian attack will require an appropriate Israeli response against Iran. This was updated 17 minutes ago. Here's what we know. Let's read through these because this is a big deal, guys. I mean, we don't want to use the term World War III. We certainly don't want war to support the price of our precious metals. But if it's happening, that's one of the reasons why we invest in precious metals. So let's go back up here. What we know, Iran has launched more than 100 drones towards Israel, military officials said, beginning its retaliatory attack weeks after the suspected Israeli attack on the Iranian consulate buildings in Syria. Joe Biden administration expects Iran will also launch dozens of cruise missiles and ballistic missiles targeting Israeli government sites. It will be hours before the drones arrive, and Israel will aim to intercept them. The U.S. and Israel have coordinated, this is a scary part, on a defense plan, including the USS Carney and other destroyers and assets. Guys, the scary thing here is, does this escalate? Does this continue to escalate? Does this turn into a bigger deal? We don't want to use the term World War III. We don't, there's a long history in the Middle East of disagreement, I guess you would say, between the Israelis and the Palestinians, the Iranians. We didn't create it. It's a fact. It's the situation. It's the way it is. Why the United States has to have its fingers in every conflict that's going on in the world makes me a little curious. I don't remember that being in the United States Constitution, right? The United States Constitution did mention silver and gold as real money. We'll talk about that a little bit later with a special guest who very well may be joining us in a little bit. But this is not a good situation. We're going to keep, our eyes on what's going on in the Middle East. This is escalation. And geopolitical turmoil is always one of the big reasons why silver and gold, maintain their value. Times of geopolitical strife. And it's not just there. It's things are escalating again in the Ukraine. What's next? China, Taiwan? Then what? North Korea, South Korea? I don't want to be like the sky is falling guy, Johnny Doolittle, or the town crier, or whatever his name is. But by gosh, have you ever seen such turmoil, strife going on in the world? And don't forget, that's why people hold silver and gold. That's the number one reason. Why do you think gold has skyrocketed? I know it didn't skyrocket on Friday. Well, it did, and then it kind of had a misfire, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, why do you think people hold gold? Geopolitical turmoil. That's the biggest factor supporting. That will continue to always be, right? Because when countries are at war, they don't want to hold paper money. Because paper money, speaking of paper money, let me show you something cool. This stuff, yeah, look at me. I'm Ronnie Rich, man. I got myself 100K, huh? Look at that. Yeah, it says right there, for motion pictures. Can you read that? It sure looks real, though, doesn't it? I don't know what I like better, this or Monopoly money. Anyway, During times of war, countries do not want to hold each other's paper money, IOUs, right? No, they want to hold gold. They want to hold silver. What did the United States do during World War I and World War II? How did we wind up with, at one point, was so much of the world's gold? We don't have it anymore, and we certainly don't even know if we have what they say we have anymore. Does Fort Knox really have 8,000 metric tons of gold? We don't know, because for some reason, we aren't allowed to check. Well, it's your gold, my gold, but we're not allowed to see it. I digress. During times of war, geopolitical uncertainty, like we are seeing right now, like no other time in your life, in my life, that's the fact. It's scary. You didn't create it. I didn't create it. But during these times, countries do not want to hold each other's paper money. Why do you think? Right, that the world central banks have been buying gold at a rate like we haven't seen for 50 years since we were back on the gold standard, even buying more than most of the years when the world was on the gold standard, right? It's because countries don't trust each other. It's called geopolitical turmoil. It's the number one reason that will support the gold price and the silver price. That's the fact, Jack, okay? All right, let's get to the bad news. On Friday, gold crashed. It was down like $90 from the high of the day to the low of the day. I mean, I was doing a live stream. We went out to Pimbex, channel sponsor, and checked the price of gold. It was up like $57. I must have timed it just at the very, very top. And then literally, I think that's a word you're not supposed to use. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Hold on a second. Quite literally, basement dwellers, like what? Like an hour later, it was negative. And then it ended the day down. Gold closed at gold. Hold on. I want you to smile. Thank you, Ron McAdams, for the super chat. I didn't even need that to smile, but that makes me smile even bigger. I want you to give yourself a great big smile, because I'm going to tell you, according to my notes, gold ended Friday at $2,342. Hold on a second, basement dwellers. I couldn't believe it when I was typing that. I want to show you something. I have in December, I have a Christmas tree. I slide it off to the side. You can't see it right now. Well, you know what? Here, I'm going to move the camera. Hold on. Get to see my trash can too. Okay. Those are on my show notes. Remember the Christmas tree over there to the right of Pimbex? We had it right behind me. I had it all lit up, and I had $2,100 gold written on the Christmas tree. Do you see that? $2,100 gold. Now, we hit 2,100 like what, a week before Christmas, and it was like celebration time. We couldn't believe it. Back up a second. Okay, come on, let's all do it together, basement dwellers. Let's all smile. I'm a basement dweller, and I'm no better than you. I'm no worse than you, and you're no better or worse than me. We can all smile. I just said we had $2,342 gold. Yeah, I know Friday stunk, and we're going to talk about manipulation, and I have something crazy interesting to show you, okay? But the fact remains, something's making a weird noise down here. Maybe I'm hearing things. I don't know. Gold's doing okay. All right, silver. Oh, silver. Poor silver. Hello, Don Howe. Thank you for the super chat. Super appreciated. You know what? I think I've learned how I can put these. Yeah, look at that. Uh-oh. Carlos, sorry. Thank you for your comment, Carlos. There we go. Look at that. Don Howe gave me a super chat. I won't be able to do that with everyone because I can't only do so many things at once. But guys, silver. Do you remember? I was buying American Silver Eagles for like $25.65. Just like, I don't know, 9 weeks ago or something like that. Guys, we had $22 silver, right? You know what the silver price was on Friday? I know it went up to, I think it on Kitco, I think it like barely was almost $30. It closed at $27.84. It was down $2. Crazy move, maddening, right? Oh my gosh, we were, woohoo, we made it, the promised land. We're going to talk about why I think that could have been manipulated in particular. The point is, one more time, I'm only going to ask you 2 more times. One more time now. We need to smile and remember $27.84. I wrote it right here. I said, guys, I can't believe I'm typing those numbers. Okay, that's my friend Maury from North Carolina. Doesn't realize I'm on a live stream. Oh, the wheels are falling off. Welcome to the world of technical difficulties. I couldn't believe I was typing those numbers. Are silver and gold, were they manipulated? Very likely. Okay, we know there's proof in the past, but I want to show you something super interesting. Let's see if I can figure this out here. Okay, nope, wrong one. Wrong one. That's for later. Here we go. This, my friends, this is not the big interesting point. This is from Eric Young on X, okay? Evidence that the London, the OBMI, and the COMEX, the COMEX markets are designed to introduce extreme volatility to the gold price as to discourage citizens, that would be you and I, United States citizens, from physical, sorry, my voice changed, from physical gold ownership. London wholesale gold dealers' views on U.S. gold sale and private U.S. ownership from the United Kingdom. Okay, this was classified. Now it's been declassified and was released by the U.S. Department of State, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think I'm in any trouble for showing you this. Sit down, get ready, proof. Okay, here we go. Let's look at what this says. The major impact of private U.S. ownership, according limited official use. I don't know what all this government stuff means, but it says, to the dealer's expectations will be the formation of a sizable gold futures market. This, I believe, came out during WikiLeaks. And this, I believe, was written right around the time that the gold and silver futures markets, the COMEX, were being developed, and the LBMA. There weren't futures prior to that. It all came about in the mid-70s. I was only 3 or 4 years old. You were likely a very young man, or maybe not in existence at that point either. But nonetheless, it says each of the dealers expressed the belief that the futures market, that would be the paper market, unicorn fart dust, the leverage market, the one where they have 400 contracts for each 1 ounce of silver, all that crazy stuff, okay? That the futures market would be significant proportion in physical trading. Okay, so the futures market would be significant proportion. The futures would be significant proportion. I think I've said that 3 times now. And the physical trading would be minuscule by comparison. So the futures market, that's what we've seen, right? 400 contracts, 500 contracts. Also expressed was the expectation that large volume futures dealing would create a highly volatile market. In turn, this is crazy that they did this. The volatile price movements in silver and gold, and yes, we know that's the case, would diminish the initial demand for, gosh darn it, oh shoot. This thing, okay, would diminish the initial demand for physical holding, and most likely, hold on, Don, now I can't, here we go. And most likely negate long-term hoarding by U.S. citizens. Oh my God. This is crazy, all right? And maybe you've seen this before. I've actually saw this before, but it was brought back by Eric Yuan. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to read it again because this is maddening. Okay, the expectation that the large volume futures dealing, the futures contract, would create a highly volatile market. Yes, check. You succeeded. In turn, the volatile market movements would diminish the initial demand for physical metal, basically gold and silver, and most likely negate long-term hoarding by U.S. citizens. Does that make you mad? That makes me mad. Okay, is that what we saw on Friday? Are they afraid? Silver, in particular, gold, right? Above $2,400. Are they scared? What is Goldman Sachs? I got something. I'll tell you what Goldman Sachs is saying about gold. Yes, they're Goldman Sachs. Unfortunately, they're not at work today, so they're probably not watching this on the trading floor. But nonetheless, what they said about gold is absolutely crazy as well. We know, right? JP Morgan had 2 traders convicted of rigging the market, the gold and silver market, by spoofing, by putting in a millions ounces worth of fake orders to move the market in whichever direction they wanted so that they could make unjust profits. I think some guy's going to jail for it, paying a fine. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay. But people, yeah, you guys have been, I've had all kinds of emails, text messages, manipulations. Ron's Hoard House. Hey, Don Howe, thank you for that super chat. Yes, my friend. The House of Hoarding, right? I don't know, right? But that's okay. That's okay. Don the Brain emailed me this morning. It's okay. They can manipulate it all they want. That's fine, right? We know things have changed. The big CPI numbers. Are you waking up to this? The big CPI number, right? That was supposed to kill gold. It didn't. Okay. The big employment number is supposed to kill gold. It didn't. And we're going to look at the dollar. I got crazy insight for you right now on what's going on with the US dollar, the strong dollar. It's not killing gold. Everything has been flipped over, turned on its side. I'm going to tell you guys something. I believe, sorry, I'm fidgeting so much. I believe it's time to make some feathers fly. Okay. And that's what gold and silver are doing right now. Now, is that important to you? Is that important to me? Yes, I love gold. I love silver. Hey, I want to say thank you to channel sponsor Pimbex, P-I-M-B-E-X. If you think that gold and silver are a smart move right now and you're going to buy some bullion online, do yourself a favor, throw Pimbex into the mix. I will never tell you what to do, but I will recommend that you may benefit from checking out Pimbex. You may find what I found. They have the best prices, the best selection, and the best service. And number one, you're going to get more metal for your money. And if you ever decide to convert all or some of an IRA to precious metals, do yourself an even bigger favor and talk to the guys at Pimbex. More metal for your money. Where was I? I don't know. I don't know. Coffee time. Everybody have a drink of whatever you're drinking. The path of least resistance for silver and gold. Let's talk about that because it's pretty interesting what we're dealing with right now. The path of least resistance. Let's go out. Hold on. Hey, Suzie. Thank you. There's Suzie. All right. She's on. I love Suzie. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Okay. Ron's Basement. Do you want to hear me tell you how lucky I am to be married to Suzie? Here we go. Okay. Let's look at this first. Okay, guys, we're going to look at this again because this is critical. The 10-year bond yield. When interest rates go up, gold goes down. Oh, really? Really, Eisenhower? You're going to try to fool us? No, I just told you everything's been thrown over, flipped over like a pancake. When I make pancakes, which I do once every 2 weeks for my twin daughters, everything's been flipped over. It is time to make some feathers fly. And that's what's going on right now because mathematics shows no forgiveness on the altar of truth. Let's look at this. This is where we are right now on interest rates. This is crazy, guys. Okay. Wait a minute. Let's look at 1 year first. All right. Let's just do an update. In the last year, right now, interest rates are higher. Okay. Higher than any other time except this little window. Okay. Looks like what? From about September through maybe 2 months, 3 months. Okay. And remember back here, what was happening last year back there? Banking crisis. The banks could not deal with the higher interest rates. So rates, right, for 1 year are high. But now sit down, Buttercup. settle down. Let's look at the max. This goes all the way back to 1985 when I was 15 years old. And if you can do math, you can figure out how old you were in 1985 as well. So here we are trying to get this. Here we are. What are we? 4.49. Okay, 4.49. I got it on there. I want you to look back all the way. The only other time that we were higher interest rates is all the way back here. Okay, 07. What is that? That's what, 17 years? For rates have not been this high for 17 years, where we are right now. Rates have not consistently been higher for over 20 years. Guys, and I don't buy it, right? What we're seeing is gold going up in a rising interest rate environment when these rates cannot go any higher. You know, the U.S. government, I got news for you, Joe Biden. The U.S. government debt level can't absorb higher interest rates. Corporations are loaded up with debt. They bought all kinds of debt over here. See this? When rates were 0%, 0.6%, 2%, 3%, they loaded up on debt. Now they got a little problem on their hand. All right, they got all this debt, and they have to refinance it all the time. They can't deal with higher. The stock market's overvalued. Oh my gosh, there is so much going on right now. It's almost too much for one brain to talk about. All right, but it's going on. The corporations. What about your neighbors that racked up their credit card debt? Guess what? They're in big trouble too. Interest rates aren't going, they can't go up. They need to go up, right? Because we have an inflation problem, but they can't go up because the whole system will implode. Remember, I'm going to say it one last time. Remember, all the way back here, right? Rates 3.5. We had a banking crisis in this country. Let's go look at the now. Let's look at the dollar, and then we're going to no more charts. I know I'm not a chart guy usually. Become a little bit of a chart guy lately. DXY index. We always go to Market Watch for this one. And my $200 laptop that I've had for 10 years takes a little while for things to load up. But you know what? That's me. That's the way I am. I'm resourceful, Ron. Okay, right here. Whoa, watch live. Crypto assets plunge. That's strange. As Iran targets Israel in drone attack. Wonder why crypto would plunge. That's weird. Anyway, we're going to X that out. Okay, guys, this is the dollar. That's 1 day. 106 is where we are in the dollar. Okay, let's look at 1 year, just out of curiosity. Okay, so gosh darn it, I hate when those things pull up there. 106. All right, we were above 106 for what? About that same period of time. Okay, when we had the interest rates up. Let's look at the max. Let's look at all. This is where it gets super interesting. Okay, we're at 106 on the dollar. I want you to go all the way across here, all these years. Okay, this goes back to 1985 as well. Basically, right, the dollar, very, very rarely has the dollar been, Susie sent me a text. Hold on. Do you have your walkie-talkie on, Susie? Oh my gosh, the wheels. Am I even live still? What the heck is going on here? Hold on. Hold on, everybody. I got breaking news from Susie. Okay, Daniel Patrick. Okay. Huh, that's interesting. I don't even know who Mike Redbar is. Somebody making nasty allegations showing leaked text he claims are yours. Huh, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I know that, but I will look into that. Thank you very much. Where was I? So anyway, the dollar has not been above 106. I mean, hardly ever. So the path of least resistance for the dollar is down. All right. And that is good for silver and gold. Hold on here. Susie's text and that message from Daniel Patrick has me a little upset. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who Mike Redbar is. So whoever he is and whatever he wants to talk, he can call me and talk to me. because I know I haven't done anything wrong. I know that. So I guess I can go on with the live stream nonetheless. All right, guys, let's move on. And the dollar and bond yields. Okay. The summation of what we just looked at, the US dollar and bond yields are going to have a very difficult time going up. That makes the path of least resistance for both of them to go down, bond yields and the dollar, and for the price of gold and silver to go up. Okay, that's our situation there. Okay, this is where it gets exciting. Okay, money can flow. All right, money can flow from these sectors to gold and silver. I want you to think about this. Okay. Stocks are at nosebleed levels, right? Nosebleed. All that money in the stock market, just a tiny bit of it starts to flow into gold and silver. People get a little scared about the stock market, right? People start to realize that with these higher interest rates, corporations are not making as much money, right? They can't borrow money at 0%. Their profits get squeezed. Some of that money goes to gold and silver. That's number one. The bond market already under great stress. People are looking at bonds. We know the state of Utah just passed a bill that allows their government to put 10% of their treasury into gold and silver to protect themselves, because they don't want to be exclusively in bonds. Money from the bond market is multiple times bigger than the stock market. Okay, so we could see a tiny bit of the bond market moving to metals is absolutely massive. Real estate can fall. We know commercial real estate has already fallen. What about residential real estate? There's a lot of people that are doing this buy and rental property thing, right? There was a whole industry made out of it on YouTube. Oh yeah, you buy a 10-unit building and blah, blah. It was I thought kind of a scam, but nonetheless, right? Residential real estate. I won't like that. You won't like that, because we like to think that our houses have all doubled in value in 4 years. It ain't real, guys. It doesn't matter anyway. If you're going to live in the place, doesn't matter if it's worth 0 or 10 billion. Unless, you know what I mean? But if you're an investor in residential real estate, that became a massive industry, if that starts to fall apart, more money running to gold and silver. Okay. We could think about this. And we've all been wrong. I've been wrong. I owe you an apology. Okay. At the end of 2023, I said 2 things. I said gold would hit $2,600 by May. Okay. And it's kind of looking like it's much more possible now. I knew that was an aggressive prediction forecast. Okay. The other thing that I said, and a lot of people said, was that buckle up, Buttercup. That's exactly what I said. You like that. You like when I call you Buttercup, don't you? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be an interesting year. Okay. 2024 has the makings to be a crazy, crazy year. Here we are. What? Oh, it's the 13th of April. We're in the 4th month. Nothing crazy has happened. Now, this is very unfortunate what's unfolding in Israel and with Iran and the Middle East. There's all that craziness, but in terms of, there's been no big deal, no big event that's occurred yet this year, right? I mean, things have not gotten better. Things have escalated. We could have a black swan event all time. It's always going to be, I'll tell you, have you noticed this in your life? Like, the things that you worry about don't usually happen. The things, it's the bank. Remember, the banks were going to collapse after the BTFP. Everybody, March 11th, the BTF, and it still may have an impact, right? But it was like March 12th, the banks are all going to go poof, right? It didn't happen, right? It's always the things you don't think about. It'll be something new. It'll be but we could have a black swan event, either geopolitically, right? A financial type black swan event. I mean, aren't we headed in that direction? There's all kinds of ways that big money could be moving to the gold and silver market. Stock market doing cruddy, bond market doing cruddy, real estate market doing cruddy, a big geopolitical event, right? Black swan. Or how about this? Hold on a second. Oh, I got a special guest for you. Somebody wants to say hi. Hold on 1 second. Okay, right? What if somebody wants to say hi to you? Do not open. I can't resist. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody, say hello to Jerome. It's Saturday night, Jerome. What are you doing? Oh, I know what you're doing, Jerome. Just look at Jerome has with him. A little unicorn. All right, that's his unicorn. He squeezes that, and that makes more of this, right? Paper money, big money. This is movie money. Don't show up here. I don't have any silver or gold at my house or cash. It's movie money. Anyway, pretty much this is what Jerome makes, right? What if, this is where it gets interesting. What if everybody wakes up? What's going on with Costco? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We aren't going to beat that dead horse too much, but what if everybody starts to wake up? What if, right? What if everybody realizes that here's a real one. Oh, a real one. Ronnie, I have a $1 bill. What if everybody realizes this is just paper? A promise on nothing? I mean, what is going on? Why do we work for nothing? Have you thought about that? I think they brainwashed me. I still think this stuff. I will never be able to 100% be unbrainwashed. Why do we work for that? Paper. We work for nothing. What if people start to wake up? Now, we are on the bleeding edge, the painful. You are on the painful bleeding edge of having had woken up, right? The paper, fiat money, it was not your idea. And it's okay that let me tell you something. If you're like me, sometimes I feel a little guilty. Like people think I'm crazy. Okay. People think I'm a little crazy. That's fine. Whatever. We got a special guest who's going to join us here in just one moment, everybody. But why am I willing to work for nothing? And it's okay, right? It's okay to feel that way because you know what? Your founding fathers tried to protect you. They did their best. They gave you their best advice. They wrote out the Constitution. They put silver and gold in there. And on that note, we're going to pull up. We have a special guest right now, guys, a guy on the forefront of the silver and gold war, right? Our chief warrior, Daniel Diaz. Let's see if I can get him on here. He's getting himself set up. Oh, he's over it. There he is.
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
That looks like
recognize this, huh?
I'm freaked out. Where's your red shirt? Where's my red shirt? Yeah, we coordinated, right?
Yeah.
Let me introduce Daniel Diaz from Citizens for Sound Money. He's going to join us here for a few minutes tonight, and we're going to have to tell him thank you for something. But Daniel, I was just railing about this. It just dawned on me. Why this is nothing? Why do we all work for nothing, right?
Yeah, well, we were duped into believing that this currency that's backed by nothing but the decree of the government is money. And here's the difference for your basement dwellers. Hello, basement dwellers. If you don't know the difference between money and currency, there's three characteristics of money that's universally accepted. The first two characteristics, currency and money, have, which is a medium of exchange and a unit of account. The third thing that differentiates currency from money is store value. So what do I mean by that? Well, the dollar has been printed pretty much almost into oblivion, right? So for every single tranche of currency that the Federal Reserve prints out, that's a percentage of wealth that they're stealing from us because simple math, right? You have one Mona Lisa, it's priceless. There's no price to the Mona Lisa. It's whatever somebody is willing to pay or willing to accept for payment. But if you have a million Mona Lisas, it's worthless. I mean, you pay $50 for a perfect copy. So that's what makes currency and money different. Money is a store of value. Gold and silver keep your wealth throughout millennia. 5,000 years, gold and silver could buy you pretty much the same thing. In the Roman era, you could buy a toga with an ounce of silver. In 1912, you could buy an ounce of silver for $20 because it was pegged to real money at the time. So, like, I love using this example. With my $20 back in 1912, if I wanted to, I could buy a top hat, tuxedo, shirt, shoes, flowers, chocolate for my date. Today, what can $20 buy you? Maybe a decent lunch, right?
Right.
But what could what an ounce of gold could buy you? $2,300 worth of currency. Well, if I wanted to, I could buy a really nice Armani tuxedo, a really nice top hat, shoes, a pocket watch, chocolates, and a flowers for my date. Because money keeps value, currency does not.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to pull up a chart here that goes along exactly with what you just said. If I can figure out how to do it, there we go. Can you see this?
Yes.
Can you see what's on the screen here? So this
Yes.
is from Vo Ron Oy, and it's gold price versus U.S. money supply. And
Yes.
it shows the yellow line is the gold price, the red line is the money supply. Since we went off the gold standard, essentially 1970, and you can see how the money supply has gone up, but it gets even crazier, Daniel, when you go down here. Yeah, here's the list. Okay. And so this is the index. The 1960s were 100. So in 1970, they'd created essentially 40% more money than the 1960s. If you go down, I mean, obviously they just print through all these years. And if, hold on here, I don't want to go to the app. Hold on. There we go. If you come down all the way to the bottom, right? Gosh, look at that. Okay. That was 2002. We're at 4,600. That means since the 1960s, they've like increased the money supply 46 times over. But if you look at the gold price next to it, it had increased by 56 times. So the gold price actually was a smart investment.
Yeah.
More so, you know, even outdid the devaluation of the dollar. So it's absolutely crazy. You know, I want to mention too, to circle back to what you said, is this your tweet? I'm going to pull up something else, put it on the stage here. This was a viral tweet that went around. Were you responsible for this or someone at your organization?
I wrote that. It was late at night, like 9 o'clock or something. And I saw this. It was just a follower of ours on Citizens for Sound Money's page. I'm like, oh, this is kind of the exact same type of answer I give in testimony, but I used 1979. I know the house price. It was $73,000 as average home in 1979. I'm like, let me just Google what 1929 was. And I found the source, and I did the exact same testimony and that I give in government. And yeah, that's my quote. It was amazing. I knew something. I knew I was onto something when within 15 minutes I had 1,000 views. I'm like, what is going on here?
Wow.
This is going viral. And then within 24 hours, we had 130,000 views and hundreds of likes, hundreds of comments. I couldn't believe it. It was the number one tweet of our organization's history. And I guess it's because it was so clearly explaining the difference between the value of gold versus the devaluation of the dollar.
Yep. And it basically tells us that 10 kilograms of gold in 1929 would buy you a nice house. And 10 kilograms of gold today would actually buy you even more of a nice house, right?
Yep.
And shows how, but I love the way you said it. It's not that gold has gone up in value, it's that the dollar has lost 99.14% of its purchasing power since 1929 due to the printing and expansion of the currency supply. Property values didn't go up, but the dollar lost most of its purchasing power over those 95 years. And it's crazy. Congratulations on that. I mean, that was a massive tweet. And I have to tell you that my wife, Suzie, I don't know if you saw this, but she came to me and said, you need to make a YouTube short. So I made a YouTube short video crediting you, obviously, showing this. And it's like one of our best performing YouTube short videos of all time. So thank you
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I wasn't, dude. It was a comment. It wasn't even a
Yeah.
post. I've never made a comment that's gone viral before. I couldn't believe it. So it
Well, you're
resonated with so many people. And then,
yes.
I realized that it was going viral. So I literally spent hours when I woke up responding to everybody's comments and tweets and reposts. And it
Yeah.
just kept going. And I kept answering people that didn't understand. I was trying to explain it in different ways. So it was our organization promotes the use of sound money and advocates for it as well. But also a big part of it, we just opened up a 501c3 to educate the people about sound money. So yeah, Citizens Sound Money. That's what we're here for. And it was great. It was great educating so many people around the world, because I was even copying and pasting people from Poland were reposting. I was copying Google Translate and responding. So it was
Wow.
amazing how viral it went and
Well,
how many people were educated.
it's interesting, very interesting, Dan. You say that around the world because um, I like to talk about the silver and gold legal legislation movement that we're having here in the United States, but I like to tell people first, like, you need to think about this in terms of the context of the world, and the rest of the world has a much different perspective and appreciation and value for precious metals, for silver and gold. It's the whole world.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we feel like lone wolves, right? When
Hmm.
sometimes, and I was reminding everyone before you came on that, like, it's okay that we feel this way because our founding fathers, and I came up with a brand new idea, like, they gave us their best advice that they could give us. They wrote it out in this thing
Oh,
called the
so genius.
Constitution, right?
Yeah.
It was their best advice. But the whole world, the whole darn world, except for the United States, right, really has a much different appreciation for
Yeah.
silver and gold. And then, on a federal level, of course, on a national level, the United States is, whatever about silver and gold. But now we got state by state, and we got people, and it's really happening. And I want to get your perspective on that, and then I want to pull up this. I think this, and I don't like talking about Costco very much, but now it's getting, even where I work, I have a little job I do in the evening, and my coworker, she's wonderful. I've learned, right, she's really not interested in hearing me talk about silver and gold, so I don't come in
Yeah.
every day and talk to her. But she came in the other day and she was like, "Did you hear people are buying gold at Costco?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I heard that. I've heard
Yep.
that a few thousand times." And
Hmm.
then I made a smart comment, and I feel bad. I said, "Yeah," I said, "Those." I said the sheeple are starting to wake up." Um,
Hmm.
and and I don't know. I don't feel real good about having said that to her. I don't think she took it personally, but the people are
Yeah.
starting to wake up, and it's
Yeah.
happening. I mean, it's really happening.
It is, and traveling and legislating or lobbying for the Sound Money Act. I ask people on planes. I ask people in the employees at the hotel. What they do, how they're doing. And they share, they open up, and like
Hmm.
the one story that resonated the most was the employee that checked me in New Hampshire when I first went to the lobby there, and she was telling me that we were just talking. I was telling her why I was here. Was in Concord, and I was going to the Capitol the next day, and she was interested, like, oh, gold and silver, really interesting. I was explaining to her, and they're like, yeah, it's just so tough. I work 3 jobs, and I'm like, wait, is this what do you work here full time? I work here full time and have 2 part-time jobs, and I do that to survive because I don't make enough money,
Right.
and I'm like, when do you sleep? She's like, I don't. I take a nap in the parking lot and I'm taking caffeine. And sure enough, the next day she was so exhausted she missed her part-time job at Dunkin' Donuts in the
Wow.
morning. And her bosses understood because there are so many people in this country that are living paycheck to paycheck. About a month ago, a
Yeah.
report came out that 78% of Americans, 78% are living paycheck to paycheck. And it just, man, this is what the fiat economy does. It
Yeah.
steals from the people. It makes the poor poorer, the
Yeah.
rich richer, and it makes the middle class disappear. Because
Yeah.
if you have a salaried job And you're not keeping up with real inflation. Real inflation is more, it's closer to about 18% a year, not this 3-4% they're telling us. If you're not making 18% more a year, those who have salaries are losing 18% of their salary every single year. So the middle class is disappearing from America, disappearing from the West. Every country, it's making the rich richer and the poor poorer because of the Kenelon effect, a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
But sound money, we never had this problem in sound money.
No,
you
no.
know,
When the United States was on the gold standard, I mean, we had problems, but it's a
yeah,
fact. I mean, the Philadelphia Federal Reserve just put that. The
yeah,
Philadelphia Federal Reserve put out a
yes,
report saying that, oh, we've determined that the gold standard is an excellent way to help control inflation. Zimbabwe just put out a new gold-backed currency, right? And
yep,
it's in its infancy, but it's
yep,
backed and the gold's there, and it's actually been going up against the US dollar. And I think what's really interesting is Zimbabwe is saying we're now going to publish annual inflation data in our country on two levels. One with our new ZIG, it's called the ZIG,
yep.
ZIG, which is
Zimbabwe
the gold
gold.
back current. Yeah, and the other is in US dollars. And I'm going to be fascinated to see what
Yeah,
comes out of that, because I have a feeling that this gold back currency is going to prove to be
I
very, very effective.
yes, we are actually planning a trip to Zimbabwe. So Citizens for Sound Money, we are actually shooting a TV show called the Sound Money Movement, a Foundation and Freedom. And part of it is to highlight the problems with the fiat economy and also highlight, the solutions. And right now, Zimbabwe is the only country in the world that has a partially backed currency. I looked into it, the ZIG, because I was wondering, well, can I redeem it for physical gold? It's tied to their gold coin. I forget what it's called, but it's majority gold backed by a basket of fiat currencies, the dollar, the euro, and whatnot. But they say primarily gold, and it's something like 200 or 300 million dollars worth of gold back in their currency. But even with that, the Gresham's law is bad money pushes out good money. Well, in this case, I'm like, I'd rather have zigs than dollars because it's backed by gold. I'll spend my dollars, but if I could buy zigs, I just buy gold directly. But I'm just saying, as an example, if we only had I get a currency that's backed by sound money partially or wholly, then fiat, which is just decree by the government saying, hey, this is money now, legal tender, forget that. But I think that when we when we record this, and we're probably going to head there during the summer because the show's going to air Q4 of this year. We'll get you the details once the ink is dried on the contract. But we have to submit all the episodes starting in September, and we're going to have 6 episodes in Q4 and then 6 episodes in Q2. And I bet you in about 2 months, we'll realize the success of backing a currency with gold and the strengthening of the Zimbabwe economy. So I'm looking forward to that trip and reporting back and looking at some statistics. And there's the general lives of people. We're going to highlight people's lives, families, business owners, and how they were struggling with just the Zimbabwe dollar, the US dollars with inflation, and then the difference by using the ZIGs. So, it's going to be interesting to see. Ron, you there? Ron. Well, basement dwellers, I think we lost Ron. I guess I'm the host of the show now. So, yeah, so I'll continue going on what we're doing. So in Missouri, I don't know for those basement dwellers that recognize the background. This is actually Patrick Holland's home. He is hosting us for the Missouri Bill 1955 and SB 735 and SB 835. These are all gold bills that are going through the legislature right now. And right now, Missouri has the best sound money legislation still in this country. Um, and the reason why I'm still here, I was deployed only for 4 days, but then they took the bill on the Senate, Senator Eigel's bill, off of the calendar. They had a formal calendar, and then they went off the informal calendar. So because of that, this is the number one priority for Citizens for Sound Money, because we want to get a state to pass the entire Constitutional Money Act. That's what it is here. And the Constitutional Money Act does several things. First and foremost, it makes gold and silver legal tender specie. It gets rid of capital gains tax in the state. It also authorizes the treasurer to put at least 1% of its reserves into gold and silver to protect the state's assets. It also creates electronic currency so that it makes gold and silver transactional, so that you can spend it with, let's say, a debit card or like a Venmo app and so forth. It also has anti-confiscation laws that basically state that the federal government can't take any gold or silver from the government or citizens without due process within the state. And the other thing, which I think is fantastic, it authorizes the government and also business owners to pay employees as long as both of them agree in gold and silver. So if you want to receive your wage and, let's say, physical gold, physical silver, electronic gold or silver, you can do that. It is the most comprehensive sound money bill. And, this isn't forcing the dollar out. This is an objection we get from a lot of people.
I don't, can you hear me, Daniel?
I can hear you now. I took over your show. I said, hey, I'm now the host of Ron's Basement.
Yeah, you're the host. This is our new host, Daniel. I have some audio. I'm not going through my microphone anymore, so I probably sound a little different, but thank you for saving me there, Daniel.
Yeah, not a problem. I figured there's some type of technical difficulty. I'm like, let me just talk about the bill.
This is Ron's Basement, the home of technical difficulties. I panicked. I don't know what happened. Somehow my mic got this guy. I was looking at something I wanted to bring up, and it changed anyway, enough of that. Thank you for saving me.
You're welcome.
And you know what? Let's run out here if I can avoid any further. I want to look at what's going on with this Costco situation. I think it's interesting that we're seeing. And I had a different block. No, I don't want anybody. This is from Fast Company, but I had a different. That's what caused. I had a Fox News article that was up as well. Fox News everywhere, CNN, CNBC, everybody's talking about this idea that we have, that people are going gold crazy at Costco. Fast Company is what I would consider almost part of the mainstream media. Costco's $2,000 gold bars are the new $1.50 hot dogs. The Fox News article said, it quoted this guy, people are saying, like, this is my new savings account. Like, I'd rather, these are people who weren't into gold and silver 4 months ago, 6 months ago, who are saying now that I'm using gold bars as my, does that sound like Venezuela a little bit, possibly?
Yeah. When your currency, listen, this is what I know. I know people feel there's something wrong. I know people know there's something wrong with the currency, but they don't know what it is. And there is something ingrained in humanity that when we look at gold, we're like, it isn't just shiny. We know it has value. So when all else fails, people are just flocking to what we are predisposed for whatever reasons. For the Christians, God has put that in us. For the evolutionists, whatever, it was genetically passed down. That gold is valuable over the 10,000-year history of human history. And there's something intrinsic about the value gold. It's incorruptible, right? You'll find an ancient artifact like a gold hilt, but the iron's completely destroyed, and it looks like the gold's brand new. There's something unique about gold and silver that we've always seen it as valuable, even before we were able to figure out how to separate it. Even during the Egyptian times, it was electrum. Electrum was a store of value. It didn't have a unit. It didn't have a unit account. You had to weigh it, and there was no. It was a medium exchange, but there's something about it that people flock to when there's problems. And during almost every major crisis in human history, people flock to gold and silver because it is real money.
Yeah. Well, I said that earlier. I mentioned the fact that, like, I don't know if you saw the breaking news, but apparently now Iran has officially launched this attack on Israel, which is very scary. Yeah. Very scary. Here, I can pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick and show the viewers who may have just joined us. But this is NBC News. Live updates. Iran's retaliatory attacks on Israel have begun. and which is, look, I wish that we could figure out a way to all get along, but like you were just saying, during times of war,
Yeah.
there's people flock to gold and silver. I don't want gold and silver. I'm not rooting for war for the price of gold and silver to go up.
No.
But I can't get, if I was in control, we wouldn't have any war. Okay. But nonetheless,
If we
obviously,
had,
I'm in my basement.
Yeah. If we had some money, there won't be as many wars. The
Great
reason
point.
why
Great.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's the military-industrial complex that is funded through the bonds and treasury notes of the central bank, or the federal governments to the central bank, to pay for war, right? Like, these wars are paid for by imaginary money, and it's keeping them afloat. They print it. The federal government gets full purchasing power. They pay Boeing, they pay Lockheed Martin, they pay all these military contractors to build brand new equipment, and then it encourages war. And war has always been a weapon of political regimes to keep power, because for some reason, when there's a war, we want stability, and we want the leader that's already leading that war, right? It's just been some type of historical game. So, let's say, oh, let's pick a fight. Let's make sure that we win the next election, because wartime presidents, I'm pretty sure in the United States, wartime presidents have always won re-election every time. And I wouldn't be surprised if new currency is printed from the United States Congress to support Israel. Now another debasement of the currency and higher inflation, and things are just going to get worse. And that's why we got the gold standard in World War One. Germany, and the UK, they didn't have enough gold-backed currency, so they printed more currency. They stopped the redemption of gold and silver of the pound and the mark, and they were printing it, paying their soldiers. And then when the war was over, boom, collapsed. The Weimar Republic, Britain went through a recession right after World War One, because this fiat currency allows governments to go to war. When before you had to tax the people and get gold bonds, turn your gold in so that they can pay for military weaponry. If we had a gold standard, it'd be a lot more difficult, because we would have to buy bonds through our own free will and choice, and to fund the war effort. That was the difference back then. Kings would tax the people to have they had enough gold to pay their armies. If they didn't have enough gold to pay the armies, they didn't go to war. So fiat is it. There's a great book. I mean, I know you basement dwellers are gold and silver people, but the content of the book is fantastic. It's about Bitcoin. Ignore the Bitcoin part. The information about the book, it's called Fiat Ruins Everything by Jimmy Song. And he just goes throughout the history in every sector of human society, and how fiat currency has ruined religion, has ruined the arts, has ruined education, has ruined healthcare, has ruined every food, agriculture, every aspect of human society. Fiat currency has destroyed. And this book, I've read many books. It is the simplest and the most thorough book on how fiat currency has destroyed every aspect of human society.
I have so many things I want to say. I'm going to say them before I forget. Maybe that's why Thomas Jefferson said the greatest threat to the United States is not an invading army, but instead money printing, central banks, and large corporate interests.
Yep.
Maybe that explains why, as you referred to the German post-World War One fiat collapse, people were taking wheelbarrows full of German, to buy a loaf of bread. Maybe that explains why during World War One and World War II, it's my understanding that the United States, during these times of big geopolitical issue or geopolitical turmoil, basically demanded that, sure, we'll supply you with machinery, we'll supply you with different things. However, you need to pay us not with your paper, but with gold. And finally, I appreciate you bringing this up, because I've heard it before, but I forgot how important it is that the gold standard, gold-backed money, it's a fact that there's less violence and wars in the world when the world is based on real money. So maybe that's why our founding fathers gave us that advice, right? That sage advice that they wrote down in the U.S. Constitution, explicitly stating that silver and gold are real money. And people like Daniel Diaz from the Citizens for Sound Money and our good friend Patrick Holland from the Missouri Freedom Initiative are doing their best to reignite, right, and allow us to reclaim what our wise founding fathers gave us as a major gift that I don't think, the sad part is that people don't realize what a gift that was, and hopefully they won't have to learn the real hard way, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel, thank you. Thanks for joining me tonight. I know you took time out of your evening on behalf of all the basement dwellers. Thanks for all the work you're doing. Thank you to our good friend Patrick Holland as well, and keep up the good fight. Okay, buddy?
I will. Thank you so much, Ron. Thank you, basement dwellers. I'll see you guys soon.
Okay. See you, Daniel.
Later. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Wow, what a great guy. Actually, he's at Patrick Holland's house from the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Sorry for the audio. It must really stink. I'm going to try to plug in my microphone. Tell me if you can still hear me. I'm just curious. Can you hear me now? Hello. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? No? Yes? Okay. Somebody tell me if you can, if I went and how about that? Can you hear me now? Oh, cool. You could hear me. I don't know what happened there. Hold on a minute. Welcome to Ron's Basement, the home of technical difficulties. Okay. All right, guys. All right. You can hear me. Okay. Yes. All right. Awesome. Yeah, but these guys are doing great work. We got a few more things to talk about before we get off. Okay. Let's look at, I thought this was interesting. Very interesting. When we look at the size of the gold market, okay, we pull that up. Another one from Varani, from our friend Sean, my college roommate. He watches Ron's Basement with his daughter Neve. Global gold market capitalization. Oh my gosh, did you guys see this? Global gold market capitalization hits 15 trillion in March of 2024. Okay, this goes back to 2010. Looks like it was around 6 trillion. We went all the way up to $15 trillion, but, and it talks about all this crazy stuff regarding why people are buying gold. We know that, you know that. I want you to think about something as we go back up here. 15 trillion. I want you to think about the size of the U.S. national debt. All the gold in the world could not even pay off one half of the United States national debt. Not even a half. It couldn't even pay off. What's the whole world? What is the whole world debt is what, 300 trillion? Sorry. Let me get my thought. I want you to think about this, okay? I want you to think about this. $300 trillion in debt in the world, backed up by 15 trillion. That's what, 1/20th, which is what, 5%, right? And that's just the debt in the world. It's absolutely astounding. It's sad, right? It's fiat, it's printed, it's make-believe. And Ray Dalio says, all these people that think that they're going to get paid back, okay, they're not. Right? All this 300 trillion in debt. And when people start to wake up, it could be a massive amount of money heading into gold and silver. Hey, I want to say thank you for joining me today, basement dwellers. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Something went on with the mic. Hopefully, yeah, gold will go up 20 times. It could, Carlos. It could. All right, guys. Thank you. Susie's making jokes. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you for being part of the basement. Okay, on behalf of Suzie and myself, it's a big deal that you join us. Super chats are super appreciated. Don't forget, I didn't even say, please give this a thumbs up. That does help, and you can always subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your evening, okay? And I'll see you soon.